Holy shit, Batman. This thing is good. Let's go. Everybody, thanks for joining. I appreciate it. You found your way over to the Modest Audiophile channel. My name is Mark, and yes, today we are going to discuss Santana Abraxas, but in this case we are going to discuss the new mobile Fidelity release on 33 1/3 RPM SuperVinyl. More on this here in a second. So yeah, Santana Abraxas. Full honesty, I've never owned this album. I never owned it on vinyl. I've never owned it on cassette. Never owned it on CD. Heck, I don't even think I've ever streamed the whole album. Do I like Santana? Yeah, I love Santana. I loved Oyo Komova. I loved Black Magic Woman. I loved some of the songs from the first album. Heck, I even saw Santana play out in Vegas. I was mere 20 feet away from him for the whole show. So yeah, I'm a fan, but I never got this album. I've been hearing the big hubbub about it for years, right? I think it was the 2016 one-step release of this album by Mobile Fidelity. Supposed to blow your mind and do all that type of stuff. And I think when it was released, it was $125, something to that effect. I'm not spending that on an album. Today, though, if you wanted to get that album, and I'll put a thing what I found here at Discogs, I think the high price on this thing is almost $2,000. Median price is right around $1,200. Holy smokes. So when I heard that Mobile Fidelity was going to put out a 33 1/3 RPM of this, I had to jump on it. For $59.99, I believe that's what I paid for it. Yeah, I really had to jump on it. So what we're going to briefly go through today is I'll talk a little bit about the credits really quick. We'll talk about the packaging really quick. Actually, you know what? We'll do the packaging first, and then we'll do the credits, and then we'll talk about soundstage and imaging, and a couple of things on some of the songs. Heard for the first time for me on some of these songs, and really just jaw-dropping moments while I was listening to this thing. And then we'll wrap it up and get you out of here, and hopefully you guys will be able to find a copy of this thing and try it out for yourselves, all right? So here we go. As far as the packaging goes, just like every other Mobile Fidelity record that I've gotten, packaging is really outstanding. Got a nice cover, thick cardboard stock, beautiful cover there, backside, all the information on it. I'll try and put some pictures of this up here as well while we're talking. Open it up. Really nice. The only thing I'll say that's a little derogatory, I guess, on this is that the cardboard stock is so good and so stiff that there was a little bit of a seam split. Not all the way through, but just a tiny little bit of the seam on the back end. Whoopie-doo. It's all about how this thing sounds, really. Really quick. This album was the second studio album, and it was released on September 23rd, 1970, my buddy's birthday. He would have been 1. This was recorded at Wally Heider Studios in San Francisco, as well as Pacific Recorders in San Mateo, and it was recorded between April 17th and May 2nd. So that's all I really want to say about this. For you Santana experts, you know far more about this album than I do, and I will put some links to some of those great videos below here that you can go check their videos out. This video is really going to be from a soundstage and imaging perspective, what I think about it, but if you really want a good comparison between this album and the one step, again, never heard of it. I don't anticipate ever hearing it. Certainly don't anticipate ever owning it. But there are some out there that have both, and they can give you a very good review on the differences between the two. All I will say is they think it's really, really close for the most part. So here we go. So let's just start real quick. This is a sound stage and imaging monster. Again, that's really what I get off on listening to this hobby is really about the soundstage and imaging. Close my eyes and be able to see a 3D holographic image of these guys playing in front of me is absolutely fantastic, and that's what I try to chase when I'm getting a new album. What I put here is I put the whole wall over here really becomes the entire soundstage. Heck, the soundstage on this one spills out of the room, out of the ceiling, out of the walls. It's fantastic. Treble shines. You've got some outstanding cymbals crashes going through here, some effects with the cymbals. In general, the treble is really, really good. Chimes, screeching, piercing guitar. You're not lacking for any trouble here. Same thing goes for the bass. Full, warm, enticing. It's like the bass is giving you a hug. And again, coming out of these speakers right here, these Wharfedale Denton 85th Anniversary Edition speakers, the bass is coming through loud and clear, no issues whatsoever. The mids, yeah, there's no mids being scooped out here, that's for sure. Insane guitar tonality coming out of this. Some of the best guitar tones I have ever heard in my life come off of this album. It's crazy. The punch you're getting with this, the organ, we'll go through some of the songs here, but as far as the overall tone stack, treble, mids, bass, really well balanced and not wanting for a thing. This thing is super, super good. As far as the overall shape of the vinyl, again, going back to Mobile Fidelity and the SuperVinyl, supposedly this is the quietest vinyl produced on the planet today. Who am I to disagree? Yes, it is eerily quiet. Of course, I got it in, I gave it a quick bath in the Humming Guru, put it on, and not a sound, not a pop, click, no surface noise whatsoever, just bliss. Really, really, really impressed with the record quality. All right, now let's get on to some of the things that really matter most to me. As far as, again, we talked about the soundstage, imaging, holographic, three-dimensional, and that really starts with the first song here. I did a couple dB checks on this thing. So the first dB check here was Singin Winds and Crying Beasts, the first song on the album. We have a low end of 55 decibels, a high end of 93 for an average listening of 83 decibels. The second song I did a dB check is from side 2, song 2, and this is Mother's Daughter. Low end of 69 decibels, high end of 95 decibels for an average of 85. All right, now let's get on to side 1. Side 1, first song starts out, Singin Winds and Crying Beasts. You had me at the chimes, okay? Right away, you had me at the chimes, Mobile Fidelity, Santana. The song starts with, I think it's chimes on the right side of the soundstage. I mean, they sound like wind chimes, right? And you got the cymbals, which they make sound like wind, and they're crossing within the soundstage. Soundstage on this song and this album, not only are you getting left to right, but you're getting forward and aft. You are moving, you're swimming in soundstage. It's blissful, seriously. As far as, I don't think I've heard a 33 1/3 RPM, at least from my collection, that has such a remarkable soundstage. I mean, I'll put this thing up there with David Crosby's, if I could only remember my name, Analog Productions 45 RPM. I did a review on that not too long ago. Check that out. I'll put it up against Fleetwood Mac's Rumors, again, 45 RPM Analog Productions. This, for 33 1/3, this thing is just, it's fantastic. I can't say anything more about it than that. It's really, really, really good. All right, back to that first song, Singin Winds and Crying Beasts. Yes, the chimes and the cymbals come in and they're crisscrossing across each other within the soundstage. Fantastic. All within that, you've got, I put here, Carlos with his crackling, overdriven guitar just comes in and just violently stabs with his riffs. It is it's hard to explain. You have a blissful soundscape, right, with those chimes and with that cymbal, and then he just comes in and cuts it like a knife with that guitar. Just fantastic. And then the bass, keyboards, drums, everything else comes in and just expands the overall soundstage. And you're like, oh my gosh, where have I been all my life in regards to this album? Shame on me, I had to wait until my mid-50s to get this thing. Yeah, and that's it on this one. That's it on this one. Great way to start the album. I love this song. This song, can you tell? I don't know what the hell I'm saying. So right away, Singin Winds, Crying Beasts, what a way to start this album. You had me hooked. As we go into the second song on the first side. By the way, I'll say great crossover between the end of the first song and then going into the second song, which is Black Magic Woman. Great crossover between songs. Yeah, Black Magic Woman / Gypsy Queen. It simply sounds like a brand new song to me. We've all heard Black Magic Woman on the radio all our lives, right? You know, Gen Xer, boomers, Gen Xers for sure, we've heard it all our lives. It's like listening to it for the first time again. And I'm not exaggerating. Outstanding way to listen to this song opposed to how I've listened to it every other way in my life. I put here, cymbals are really showcasing the depth of the soundstage on this one. You've got some cymbals that are way back in the soundstage. And in this case, in my room again, the speakers are 8 feet apart over here. I'm sitting 8 feet away from where the speakers are. The image on this album will project into the room a couple feet, but it definitely gets beyond the back wall here, and that's 3 feet away from my speakers. Again, great imaging and soundstage. The solo on this, Carlos has a bit more bite than I'm accustomed to hearing. You really get a sense of that guitar just pushing those tubes in that amp for all it's worth. You really get a great texture when listening to the solo on the song as opposed to, again, the car or something else. Hearing more drums than I've heard before on this song, both in the left side of the soundstage and the right side of the soundstage. And right at the end, during the outro part, the piano playing, and you could almost touch it coming right out of the left side. Just again, it's like hearing the song for the very first time. Fantastic. The third song on the album is Oye Komova, another one that we've heard time and time again. Never like this. The bass oozes out. I mean, the bass on this thing is fantastic. It's sitting right in the center of the image, and it literally plays the same notes throughout the entire song. In fact, this whole song really fits around the bass coming out of the center of your soundstage. That's how I felt, is the bass is solid, right there in the center, playing the same notes the entire way, and the rest of the band just fills in around the soundstage. Really good. The second solo I put here, Carlos is just freaking ripping it. And again, turn it up to 11 in this case. Yeah, you get that texture again that you just don't get, that I haven't gotten anyway, listening to it in different formats. On the left-hand side of the soundstage, you got that piece of percussion, right? Which is like you put a drumstick on it, and it almost sounds like a scratching. I'll try to put a picture of it here. That was so visual, hearing it in your mind's eye, but seeing it, yeah, really cool. And at the end of the song, well, I've talked about different instruments having great decay, right? At the end of this song, right when the last note is played, the whole band decays, and you can hear everything. Really great. All right, after Oye Komova, the fourth song, I put a star next to this one because I've never heard it before. It's an instrumental. It's called Incident at Neshabar, or Neshaber. Incident at Neshaber. I just put awesome, so much stuff. I'm glad I've listened to this album now probably about a dozen times in the last week and a half. And I keep going back to this song. This song is fantastic. The percussion is so vivid in the whole album, but certainly this song as well. You got a little rattler. Again, I'll put pictures up to these different pieces of percussion and what their names are, but you hear this little rattle. It's like you hit this thing and it vibrates. You hear it throughout it's not prevalent in the forefront of the soundstage. It's actually quite a bit back, and it almost sounds like it was coming from just behind my wall, again, which is 3.5 feet away from my speakers. And that is present throughout the entire song. This was like a potpourri of music styles. You're hearing rock, jazz, of course, Latin. I put progressive rock as well you're hearing in here. And you get it all in this potpourri of music. Fantastic instrumental. I put here, after it breaks down, you get into a slow part of the song, and I put soundstage bliss. You have a piano coming out of the right-hand side of the soundstage that is so crisp that you feel like you could go over there and hit the keyboard yourself. Really excellent. And again, during that slow part of the song before it builds up again at the end, Carlos is riding that volume control on his guitar. He wants to get the most overdriven sounds he can. He's got that thing wide open, and that amp is begging for relief. Please, Carlos. And then he'll dial the volume back a little bit, and he'll get a much more softer guitar sound. Not a lower volume, just a softer guitar sound. Excellent song. Again, first time hearing it when I bought this album. Where have I been? Where has this album been all my life, except for on a shelf someplace? I should have gotten this thing years ago. Fantastic. Side 2 starts with a song called Say a Cabo. I put drums, drums, and more drums. Excellent bass as well. And in this song, you're getting a lot of panning back and forth with the drums. Again, goes to that imaging and soundstage. It's fun. It's a lot of fun. In fact, that's what I put next. This song is just effing fun. Carlos' face, nasty. I'll put a picture up here. You've seen it, I'm sure. And that's the face I had when I was listening to this song. What a groove this song was. Just an absolute toe tapper. Great, great song. You'll get your own little guitar face when you're listening to it as well, I'm sure. All right, this goes into the second song on side 2, and it's actually a Greg Raleigh tune. He wrote it, Mother's Daughter. Again, I put a star next to this one. I'd never heard this song before. Man, I love this song. Killer organ and bass to open, I put. This is a high energy tune, and it definitely has some of the best guitar tones I've ever heard, period. Regardless of music I'm listening to. The guitar tones on this song that Carlos is getting, wow, fantastic. Great vocals, almost like high definition vocals. You're seeing Greg Raleigh's, you're seeing him sing this song. His vocals are so good and so texturized. You can see his vocal cords singing this song. Really, really good. The last thing I'll say about this song is when it starts, you actually can hear, you can hear the tape starting. Excellent recording, excellent quality. All right, that goes into the third song on side 2, which is called Samba Pati. And I believe I heard this one because the melody was just very, very familiar. It's an instrumental, and it's all built around Carlos. Carlos is not singing, but his guitar is. If you think of his guitar in the song as like his voice, yeah, the rest of the song is built around that. I put, after about a minute, on the left-hand side of the soundstage, the organ comes in, and it's righteous. This organ is just, righteous. It's fantastic the way it leaps in to the song from the left side of the soundstage. And then the last thing I put here is great fade with reverb. So meaning that the song, the whole band, right? You've heard it, different songs before, right? The way they want to end the song is they just kind of fade out into obscurity from the front of the soundstage out back. But what they did here is they layered on so much reverb onto Carlos's guitar. You're swimming in reverb at this point. And his is the only instrument that I could hear that had the reverb put on it as the band and him kind of fade from the soundstage and just kind of disappear in the center. Really neat. Thought that was pretty cool. And we've got the fourth song on side 2 called Hope You're Feeling Better, another one written by Greg Raleigh. This one I kind of got a bit of a live Derek and the Dominoes feel. A little bit of Clapton-ish type of guitar phrasing, I'll put it. And again, another upbeat song. Organ was pumping. Maybe I got that feeling because there's quite a bit of wah-wah pedal being played here by Carlos, and got a little bit of that sense again from Clapton in his Derek and the Dominoes, live Derek and the Dominoes. Yeah, there's a breakdown in the middle towards the end of the song where it gets so clear that, again, hand claps. Love my hand claps. Hand claps are in there. More percussion is in there. The hi-hat and everything is so vivid that it leaps out of the soundstage right into your lap. Really good. Yeah, I did put Leslie. The organ coming in again from the intro is just killer. Multiple times. Now, today I'm all alone in the house. I listened to it for the last time about an hour before I filmed this. I'm alone in the house. Everybody's out. And yet, I'm constantly opening my eyes and looking around because of crap I'm hearing that your body just like opens up and starts to look at, right? We all know that sense when you hear something for the first time. Fantastic. That happened all throughout this song. And the last song on the album, and the only thing I put is it's too damn short. It's called El Nicoya. Percussion rules is what I put here. Percussion, and more percussion. And it's too darn short. I think like a minute and a half, if that. And that's it. And you're left after this album. I don't smoke, but boy, I needed a smoke after this thing. This thing left me chewed up and spent. What a great listen. For $60, I am so glad that I got a chance to get a copy of this thing before it sold out. So, where does that leave us? Like I said, $60, is it worth it? Yeah, and twice on Sunday, if you can get it. If you are a soundstage and imaging person, you're going to love this album. Even if you've never heard it before, you're going to love this album. I got friends that are big into jazz, and they like the complexity of the different instruments playing amongst each other. This album's got that. It really does. It's got mixtures of different musical elements. Yeah, soundstage and imaging on this thing is fantastic. I can't imagine what the one-step would sound like. So again, $60 for this thing. It's already worth more than that now. But it's certainly a lot cheaper than going out and spending 4 figures for the Mobile Fidelity one-step of this album. I've never heard it, like I said earlier. I don't think I'll ever get a chance to hear it, but there can't be, right? There can't be $900, $1,000 difference between this 33 1/3 version versus that 45 RPM version of the one-step. There just can't be. So this thing is an absolute, knocked it out of the park. Great job, Mobile Fidelity. I'm really happy that for the average person, we're able to get our hands on this thing. So yeah, that's my recommendation. If you can get this album, even if you don't think you're a Santana fan, get it. If you are a imaging and soundstage fan, you won't regret it. It's awesome. So that's it, everybody. Yeah, Santana Abraxas. Who knew? A lot of you guys did, I'm sure. This guy, no, I didn't know what I was missing all these years, and I'm so happy that I got myself this copy. $59.99, worth it all day long and twice on Sunday. Yes, do yourself a favor, because you need to chill out and relax at the end of the day, at the end of the week, the weekend, whatever. Find some time for you. Go out there, find this thing if you can. It's still out there. Get yourself your favorite beverage. In my case, yes, I had a new bourbon when I tried this new record out. Fantastic on both accounts. Get your favorite beverage. Put this thing on the turntable, turn your lights down a little bit low, and prepare to be dazzled by the soundstage and imaging. That's all I got today, everybody. Thank you so much for coming. Hey, if you like the video, feel free, hit like. If you want to support the channel, go and hit subscribe. That would really help me out a lot. Other than that, thank you so much. Have a great weekend, and I'll catch you next week with something different. Take care. Bye.